Salutations, utopians. Hope all is well in your world. Um, we got about a month and a half, 2 months to go before the NBA season begins, if I'm not mistaken, or 50 days, something like that. And, it's the off season. There's no preseason, yet, and there's no summer league. Uh, just pivoting off of the Olympics. And so NBA is a little slow right now. Uh, Shout out to TJ McConnell, just signed a $54 million extension with the Indiana Pacers, deservedly so. There were certain times in the playoffs where he looked more of the team's point guard than Tyrese Halliburton, speaking of the Olympics. Um, but there's a matter I want to address, and I've been trying to be quiet about it, but I don't seem to see this topic go away. As you all know, Gilbert Arenas has become a prevalent figure in the basketball world. And since the Olympics, honestly, because of the heroics of Steph Curry, uh, his name and Magic have been drawn comparison to. And then recently, Edwards made some statements about uh, Michael Jordan might have been the only skilled player from the 90s. He don't know anybody else. And Gilbert Arenas, a former ex-Warrior, definitely a pioneer before heading off to Washington. Uh, Second round pick, truly amazing story, man. The guy's really from the trenches, from the mud. He really made it. Uh, he went to school in the Valley. Salute. But you know, he's been on the hill with Ant defending uh, this take about the 90s and uh, just announced that Steph is in his top five. He don't know who he's taking out. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the problem with athletes talking sports though, because they got relationships to maintain, and not only that, because they're in a gladiator world in terms of making it in the league. They oftentimes skip over some very important facts and nuanced information because they have no room for excuses. Nobody does in life, but especially athletes. Uh, it's just irresponsible, first of all, to call Curry a point guard, okay? Uh, and to put him in the breath as Magic, who won MVP, Finals MVP, played all five positions, and won a championship his rookie year. It's just ridiculous, okay? Um, Magic is an anomaly. Magic could see a play happen before it happened. Steph, all his highlights are him shooting the ball. How can Steph be a point guard when during the Olympics LeBron and Drew Holiday handled the responsibility, and LeBron is a descendant of Magic? Drew Holiday is the second best point guard of this generation that, in the last 10 years outside of Chris Paul. The only reason why we're not talking more about Drew Holiday is because Drew Holiday went to Milwaukee and had to play off ball. Went to New Orleans with Anthony Davis and really didn't have to do too much facilitating due to the fact that Anthony Davis was just a one-man wrecking crew. Once the ball crossed half court, he's within range to go for 50 every night if he wanted to. Two dominant big men, AD and Giannis. So it's not much point guard. There's two type of point guards when Gilbert Arenas arrived to the league and he started taking over. You were either a system point guard or you were a combo guard, which normally consists of someone who looks for their shot. Don't get me wrong, you can make the basic read, but you're not going to make plays happen before they happen. You don't see things. You can't foreshadow things before they happen. You can't orchestrate before it happens. Gilbert Arenas averaged 10 assists once in his entire career. Traditionally, he's 6 assists and below. Again, prolific scorer. Even had a game against Kobe, who not always was on Kobe, but it still gave Kobe a dub out of that 60 points. A third of his buckets were on Kobe when he scored 60 plus. Unbelievable score. Criminally underrated in terms of gifted guards. But this notion that you're calling Steph a point guard, and it's not just him, everyone is doing this. He averaged 10 assists in the finals. Don't get me wrong. But look how loaded the rosters were. If you can't get 10 assists with Kevin Durant, Sean Livingston, Andre Iguodala, who was supposed to be a starter in the league, like they always kept, you know what I mean? Like they always kept a batch of small forwards for LeBron, 3 deep. Harrison Barnes at one point, Andrew Wiggins was a Finals MVP. And really, that's what's missing. They don't have anything now there. And they don't have playmakers either. That's what the Kyle Anderson acquisition is for. Slow-mo is a point forward. I was one of the people that said that he was going to make a great pro out of UCLA. One of my many great calls in terms of talents. In terms of scouting. So I watched... I'm watching this discussion and I'm like, who are you going to put out of the top 5? Magic, Big O, John Stockton, Gary Payton, Isaiah Thomas, Jason Kidd, who was the LeBron of LeBron in the East Coast with Jersey. Made it to the finals like 2 or 3 times. Wasn't a scorer, couldn't hit a jumper really like that until he got with Dirk in Dallas. And they upset the Heatles. Then all of a sudden he morphed into prime Steve Kerr. It's just crazy to me how loose we use that word. The transition from traditional point guards happened ironically around the time when Gilbert Arenas got to the league. To normalize seeing a point guard who doesn't know how to pass the ball. Draymond is 88th all time in assists. Steph is 39th. Steph was drafted 3 years before Draymond. First 2 years, Draymond averaged 13 minutes and 21 minutes respectively. Steph, first year, I believe, was 36. Out the gate was getting burned. Draymond was more of the point guard of the Warriors than Steph ever was. Draymond looked for a shot. He would be in the discussion with Jokic and LeBron, and what he has that they don't have is he's a decoy. So what would that make Draymond's legacy? It's crazy. It's crazy for me, honestly, to watch this narrative getting pulled. It's crazy, too, because even though Steph is called the greatest point guard because they can't call him a shooting guard. If they call him a shooting guard, then you got Jordan, Kobe, Prime Wade, who was a two-way threat. AI, Harden. I would give him about 4th. I would say you can give him 4th after 5th. Top 5 shooting guards. But the irony is, for his career and his legacy, if you just watch him as a scorer, suddenly he's more enjoyable to watch. But them calling him a point guard, it's like, what is this psyop opera? You're peeing on me and telling me it's rain. It's rain. It's wet outside, and you telling me that you're pissing on somebody and telling them it's rain when it's piss. Like you're like, what am I missing here? You're showing me nothing but him shooting the ball. That's why Drew Holiday, there was all this tension. Does Drew Holiday not like Steph? He doesn't dap him 5. He keeps ignoring his hand 5s. He's not talking to Steph on the court. Because, bro, I had to stand aside so you could shine. But don't get it twisted. Don't tell me how to run point. I see everything. I'm a real point guard. You're not. You're a 6'3" 2 guard. And if you played in the 90s, you would be like your dad, Dale Curry. You'd be lucky to be your dad. He'd be more like Steve Kerr with all that hand checking. You sit in the corner, you wait till you get the ball. But the rules changed. Like the 3-second rule disappeared when LeBron got there. Same thing can be said about Steph. Hand checking and all that stuff, the stage was set. Because every time a team got physical with the Warriors, they found themselves in a deficit. When they allow you to get physical, when Delladova's up in your jersey, when Russ and Ibaka and all them were bumping them out to the past the 3-point line, and daring to run them off the 3-point line, guess what? They got down 3-1. Then the hero ball started between Russ and KD. But that Safalosha Russ backcourt, When they got up in Steph jersey, he wasn't doing all that. It's crazy to me. It's crazy. You know, this is the marketing side of the game I don't appreciate. I tell people all the time, if Kobe played before Mike, he would have been probably Penny. We didn't even get to see the full arsenal of weaponry from Kobe, honestly. We didn't even get to see his highest form because he was too busy, again, the roles, having to fill in for MJ. But if you really want to talk about it, he would have been what Penny was. And Penny unfortunately got his career cut short. I'm convinced now, as at this age, that Penny was the greatest what if story of all time. He could do everything. He passed like magic, good size, and can score from anywhere, cerebral, and he'll put that ball on your head. If you think you're going to stop him from getting to the rim, fuck around and get teabagged. So that's who Kobe would have been. We got to see a glimpse of it. My favorite version. I'm not even a Kobe fan to be honest, but you got no choice but to respect what he was about. But two versions of Kobe. The Denver series where he was taking his turns with every single person on Denver to the point where he hit him with the "you can't guard me." And that's when the Mamba thing was created. And the second one was the year he was with D'Antoni, the year he blew out his Achilles. He was playing point guard. And guess what? He blew out his Achilles. Similar to what happened with Penny. Because dude was crazy. He knew the game. Who you are as a person is who you are as a player. Dude was able to speak multiple languages, travel the world, could score from anywhere on the post up, drive, fadeaway threes, crossovers. He was everything. He just didn't get to be everything because his job was to escort people out of the Jordan era. You know? So we didn't get to see the best of the best from him. That's the cold part. Otherwise, he would have been a top 10 player. But when he went into Jordan's shadow, you see how it knocks you back down? When you misclassify yourself, to thy own self be true. Steph didn't considered to be a point guard. He would have been a top 5-2 guard. That would have been more to his legacy than being a fake point guard. Kobe would have been more of a top 10 player in the league if he was able to just focus on winning and be the point guard that he is and just play the game and make the right read all the time. Steph is not a point guard. He doesn't belong in top 10 point guard consideration. I'm just keeping it real. I'll try to do better next time. Global. Out.